Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into our quiz here. So translating, fairly straightforward, what we have seen before. When the pronoun description comes before the sentence, this is indicating who this quote is addressed to. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Is modesty a vocabulary?
Did you guys have that in Zad al-Talibiyya?
I think
All right, it's a vocab word.
Wow.
Yes.
Can we buy a vocab word with like a point? Something?
Buy it?
Like can we get a point deducted so we can get the vocab word if we need it? So we don't miss the whole sentence.
Oh, you'll figure it out. Wait, when did you guys cover this hadith? Last week? I mean, yesterday?
3 weeks ago.
What's the hadith?
Oh,
well, don't tell me.
3 weeks ago, then this definitely should be cemented in your brain. That was a while ago. That's pre Thanksgiving.
Can we say haste was recognized in his actions if you remember the other hadith?
What? You could put what you want down and then we will go from there. Also for number 6, this is a command, not an expression of speech.
The exclamation mark supposed to indicate
Command. Yes.
So like for number 2, you are advising the female plural Muslims to return to the mosque.
No, you are addressing a female plural group. And you are telling them, advise the Muslims to return to the mosque.
Oh.
Sure.
How much time do we have left?
Um, who needs more time?
Like 5 minutes.
Okay, we can do for long. Take another minute or so. All right, I've got two from our folks online. Still gotta get going on. Everybody else in person, I think I've got. Oh, sorry. Now everybody in person. I've got. Okay, how was that?
Pretty hard.
That was a little more difficult. What about it? Was it the concepts or just that the sentences are now longer? And thus more pieces that need to be put together? What do we think?
Yeah, it's more to keep track of.
More to keep track of. Yes, that is a common element of why folks think that these sentences get harder. And if that is your concern, is that there's more to keep track of, I always recommend to break up the sentence into its own individual pieces. So if it's helpful to look at the sentences and then first create a word bank and then kind of break it up, modesty was recognized. Okay, that's only 2 words. And then you get to in his actions. Advise the Muslims, again, only 2 words. To return to their mosques, 3 words. So you break up the sentence into its own individual chunks, and sometimes that can be helpful.
There were like 2 things that I'm not sure if we ever covered. One was like how to form questions. I don't know if we ever. actually-
Oh, you guys didn't cover that in Wish of Bilu yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I kind of like. I think I got it right, but I didn't actually cover it in class.
Okay.
Not that I recall these. And the second was we never put more than one down for one file. So I kind of just guessed on how to do that.
Yes.
And also when I wrote it, it sounded right, but I'm still not sure about like the majhul, like the doer, but it doesn't sound like the doer, but like how to conjugate the doer. Or the
The
verb
verb.
based on what sounds like the object, but is now the doer. So,
Right. Yeah. So we will cover all of that, inshallah.
And one more element that
Yeah.
is challenging for me is how to like definitely discern whether it's the harfu jazm command, because there's a command, right? Or if it's based
Using-
on looking at just the English.
Yeah. For that's an easy answerable question, which is you could use either.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you have like a very clear-cut explicit command, then you could use either the actual amr conjugation or you could use the lam with so that one they are totally interchangeable. Pause this thing. Conjugate. All right. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Okay. Last week, we talked about ماضي مجهول, الفعل الماضي المبني للمجهول. Now we're simply going to do the مضارع version. الفعل المضارع المبني للمجهول, the passive present / future. All right. So we're getting close to crossing out all of these. We've got this all the way at the bottom. Past passive tense was what we covered last week. Her mother was honored. Past. Future passive, her mother will be honored. Note that when we are looking at the English, both of these end in an ed. All right, so it can be a little bit confusing. We have to look at whatever this verb is in order to identify whether it's past or present/future. Her mother will be honored, or her mother is honored. We have to look at what goes here. That will tell us what tense we are dealing with. All right, here's our chart of the مضارع مجهول. So I've got ينصر ينصران ينصرون تنصر تنصران ينصرن تنصر تنصران تنصرون تنصرين تنصران تنصرن انصروا ننصروا. All right, so these are our conjugations here. Same thing with the Madi Majhul. We don't need to know or care or pay attention to what bab this is from. We don't need to know whether it takes a dhamma on the middle root letter in the mudari or a fatha or a kasra. It will be yunsaru, yuktabu, yuqra'u, yujlasu, etc., etc. All of the verbs in verb form 1 across the board, doesn't matter. It will follow this exactly. All we're doing is swapping out letters.
It's just going from a father to a dhamma, right? First letter.
The first letter, yep, and the middle root letter will always be fatha.
Oh, okay.
So even for example, kataba yaktubu, it will be yuktabu.
I don't think I would have noticed that. But
Yeah.
because I would already know, like, this is just an example. And so.
Even just with the example verb, it's normally yansuru, right? So here we're changing the first letter to a dhamma. We're making the middle root letter always, regardless of what it normally is in the ma'alum version, making it into a fatha.
You have page 80 written on the right, left.
Is it not in your book?
82.
Oh,
I have 82. Weird book.
oh, it's not even on page 80 in this book. It's on 81 in this one.
There's 3 different books.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Mine's 85.
Mine's 82.
Oh, this doesn't even say the edition on it. But the year is right.
I have the same year.
Mhm. Yeah, they don't have the edition on it. Anyways, somewhere in the 80s, you will find this chart in the book. Or you could also just look at the slide since it is right here. All right, so this is our chart for the Mudari' Majhul. So let's keep this chart in front of us, whatever page it is in your book, and let's do some practice charts. All right, so again, we don't need to know what the middle haraka is on the Mudari', what it is in the Madi. We don't need to know any of that because all across the board, it will be the same for our 2 Majhuls. Amira, why don't you go ahead and start us off? List all passive mudari' conjugations.
Yudfa'u, yudfa'ani, yudfa'una, tudfa'u, tudfa'ani, tudfa'na.
Close. Check the first letter.
Oh, yudfa'na.
Yudfa'na.
I can't tell if the chart is on weird. Yudfa'na, tudfa'u, tudfa'ani, tudfa'una, tudfa'ina, tudfa'ani, tudfa'na, udfa'u, nudfa'u.
Good. That was good. There was a lot of hesitation there, but you did great. All right. Brahma, do the next one. Good. تسكن. Great. طيب, next one.
يحمل. Right? يحمل يحملان يحملون تحمل تحملان يحملن تحمل تحملان تحملون تحملين تحملان تحملن أحمل نحمل.
Great. Siraj, next one.
تبحث Oh, sorry. يبحث يبحثان يبحثون تبحث تبحثان يبحثن تبحث تبحثان تبحثون تبحثين تبحثان تبحثن تبحث نبحث.
Great. Grant.
ينظر 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 ينظران ينظرون تنظر تنظران ينظر ينظرن تنظر تنظران تنظرون تنظرين تنظران تنظرن تنظرن
Good.
تنظر ننظر.
Good. Mashar.
يشكروا يشكروني يشكرون يشكروا يشكروني يشكرنا أو يشكرنا
يشكرنا.
يشكروا يشكروني يشكرونا يشكرينا يشكروني يشكرنا أشكروا.
Good. Selma.
Sorry.
That's okay. Good. Close. Try again. Good. Good. All right. Abdurrahman.
يدفعون 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 تدفعون تدفعون يدفعون يدفعين يدفعان يدفعن يدفعون.
Good. Saad.
يسكنون يسكنان يسكنون تسكنون تسكنان يسكنون تسكنون تسكنان تسكنون تسكنين تسكنان تسكنن تسكنن تسكنن.
Good. And Ahmed.
يحمل يحملان يحملون تحمل تحملان تحملن يحملون تحمل تحملان تحملون تحملين تحملان تحملن تحملون.
All right. So highly encouraged to, as you study and get these charts comfortable, all you have to do is just open up your vocab list and you just go through all of them. Any of your vocab lists or all of them, just go through all of the verbs and do your passive past and passive present/future charts. It'll get a lot more comfortable and a lot more fluid. And we will have a homework assignment regarding this so you guys can get some practice. Yeah.
If you put one of your remove before it, you would just conjugate it the same way. Remove the noon or add a power or whatever.
Yeah. So we're going to look at some, I don't know if the examples have that, but yeah. So we're going to look at some examples, and yes, the Mudari' Majhul can take any of our huruf that we covered for مضارع معلوم. So it can take all of our huruf al-nasab, it can take all of our huruf al-jazm. Our categories are exactly the same. Ends in a root letter, ends in a letter plus a noon, and feminine plurals. And we do all of the same exact things to them.
I was thinking about like, with some of the verbs that we have. With majhul for both Maldi and Mudari, because it's not telling us the doer, it's telling us what was done to, so it wouldn't make, like, for example, some verbs would not.
Some verbs would not make sense.
Like, you wouldn't say like, I don't know, like, Puri at, like, the two of them
Were red.
like,
Mhm.
or, I don't know, just like, some verbs don't.
Some verbs won't work. Yes, that is going to be a common theme that we come across in this class of sarf, which is that we're going to do a lot of examples in terms of the charts we recite, in terms of the way we will, do our sarf saghir, and the way we will go through the different verb forms and all of that stuff. Not everything is a word even. All right, we're going to do, especially when we do different verb forms and stuff like that, we'll just pick a random set of 3 and I'll say, put it on verb form 5. It may not exist on verb form 5. It may not even be a word that is a real word, but we're doing it just for the understanding of getting the chart down. So this chart, and we're going to talk about that at the very end, hopefully, if we have time, about how majhul can only be used with certain types of verbs in order to make sense. But as far as your practice to get the fluidity, to get the comfort, to get the chart down, you can theoretically put any set of letters, use any verbs. That doesn't always mean it's going to make sense. Yes, that is, we will see that over and over and over again in sarf. Okay. So lots of practice for you all to get through. Let's do some of these example sentences, and I think that's going to take us through to the end of class. Okay. Allah should be worshipped. Allah should be worshipped. Okay. So, let's jump right in. Allah should be worshipped. What is my harf that I'm going to indicate to have the word should? What is my verb for to worship? Abada. Ya'budu. Okay. And I have my lafzul jalala. Okay. So Allah should be worshipped. Am I dealing with a maldi? Sorry, am I dealing with a ma'alum or majhul sentence here? Majhul. I don't know who he should be worshipped by, or the sentence doesn't tell me, but I know that he should be worshipped. Okay. Next, I know it's going to be majhul. Is it going to be maldi majhul or mudari' majhul? Which of those two am I going to choose here? Mudari'. Okay. So I'm going to take my mudari'. And then lastly, do I have a inside or outside na'ibul fa'il? Outside. So I'm going to choose either huwa or hiya. Which one am I going to pick here? Huwa. All right. So I'm going to do multiple steps right now. I'm going to take my verb, ya'budu. I'm going to conjugate it as huwa. Luckily, I don't have to do anything different, but that is a step I'm doing. I'm going to conjugate it as huwa. I'm going to make it majhul, and I'm going to make it in what i'rab?
Jazm.
Majzoom. So I'm doing 3 things here. Got to make it huwa, got to make it majhul, got to make it majzoom. When I do all of those things, what is my final answer? Liyu'bad. I heard something different over there. Liyu'bad. Liyu'bad. Good. What's my ending on lafzul jalala? Ooh, good. Yeah. So I've got my lam al-amr that's making the verb jazm, and that verb itself is majhul. Majhul. Liyu'bad. And then Allahu marfu'. Yes, because technically it is a sukun. Just in reading it, we would read it with a kasra.
Okay, so you have to write it.
Yeah, you would write it with the sukun. You would write as you like as it is correctly written, as opposed to as it is read.
So when sometimes they write it with the kasra, they're just actually.
It's not that it's wrong, it's just that it's yeah. It's the purpose of that is to assist the reader. All right. Any questions on this first example? Pretty clear. All right. Number 2, we were not created from the fire. We were not created from the fire. Okay. So what is my harf that will, and again, there's 2 ways to say the sentence, but what is my harf that indicates past negation?
Lam.
Or lam. Good. We could do ma or we could do lam. Let's do the lam first since we're doing our unit on mudari right now. Lam. Okay. Create. What's my verb for to create?
خلق يخلق.
Good. خلق يخلق. Okay. Fire?
No.
All right. So we were not created from the fire. So I'm going to start off with my harf here, just like I did in the other sentence. Now, in my sentence, we were not created. We were not created. Okay. I have my harf that's gonna be a even though it's communicating a past tense, my harf is always used with madi or mudari. Mudari. Okay. Do I have an inside or outside doer? Or naib? Inside. We. And lastly, is it majhul or ma'lum? Majhul. Okay. So my next word is going to have the following features. It's going to be mudari. It's going to be in the nahnu conjugation. And what i'rab is it going to take? Majzoom is again. Okay. So I've got to make it mudari, got to make it nahnu, got to make it majzoom. What's my final answer here?
نخلق.
Nukhlaq. I have to make it majzoom.
Oh, so نخلق.
Yes. Category 1 ends in a root letter. Lam nukhlaq from the fire. Lam nukhlaq min an-nari. Lam nukhlaq min an-nari.
So
Yeah.
technically, you could do it with ma and then just do a madi verb.
Yeah, we're gonna do that next.
Oh.
Any questions on how we did it with the mudari? Great.
Could we have said just la, like the lam of the one that has no grammatical effect? I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, if we did that, then we would need to make this marfu' then because it has no grammatical impact. So if we wanted to say, and it would change the meaning. Because here, this is past. We were not created. If I wanted to use the lamun nafiya, then I would say la nukhlaqu min an-nari, and that would mean we are not created from fire.
Why?
Why didn't we?
Why did?
Because lam is a harf that only is used with mudari. Yeah. So lam is our conceptually trickiest of all of our huruf. Why? Because it's only used with mudari, but the meaning it conveys is past. It's just like a little mental thing that you need to keep in mind. It's always used with mudari, but the meaning it conveys is past negation. All right, let's do the actual past tense version using a Maldi conjugation. Grant, what would it be?
Ma, Allah, Allah,
Close. I still need to make it majhul.
Okay. Ma khuliqna
Good. Ma khuliqna.
min an-nari.
Good. So yeah, if you were to see something like this on an exam and you did either one of these, they would both be right. Just have to have one or the other. Lam nukhlaq or ma khuliqna. We were not created from fire. All right. Next looks familiar. Modesty is recognized in his actions now. All right. Before it was, now it's is. So hopefully this should go a little bit quicker. What's my sentence? Instead of making it past, I just need to make it present. Good. يعرف الحياة. So here I'm not doing anything grammatically. I have no help to take it out of marfu', so it's just plain and simple marfu'.
Is the what used to be called fa'il still called the same from the last type of?
Is it still called the na'ib al-fa'il?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So just like how in a ma'lum sentence, ma'lum verbal sentence, there's always going to be two components. You always have the fi'l and the fa'il. It's the same thing for this, except we're just calling them a little bit differently. You still have to always have a fi'l and a na'ib al-fa'il. So you're always going to have both of those pieces. And yes, we call it the same, na'ib al-fa'il, whether it's maldi or mudari. Great. Next, the door has not yet been opened. The door has not yet been opened. Okay, what's my word for door? Babun and abwab. And then what is my verb for to open? Fataha yaftahu. What is my harf for not yet? Lamma. Is my na'ib al-fa'il inside or outside?
Outside the door.
Outside. Yes, it's the door. The door is the na'ib al-fa'il here. Okay. So because I have an outside doer, am I going to choose huwa or hiya for my verb? Huwa. Let's jump right in. Lamma. What's my next word going to be? What's my verb that is going to be mudari', huwa, majhul, and majzum? Yuftah. Good. Yuftah. And then my na'ib al-fa'il, what's the ending on bab?
Al-bab.
Al-babu. لما يفتح الباب.
So for the couple of examples we're doing, I keep thinking to say bad, like nas, because isn't the door like receiving the action of opening? Is
Yeah,
it not the maf'ulun bihi?
good question. So this is what we were kind of touching upon earlier when we mentioned that the na'ib al-fa'il is kind of a combo concept. Let's just write this out. Grammatically, oops. Grammatically, same as fa'il. Conceptually, same as So we have to keep those two things separate. What is the grammatical function of my na'ibul fa'il? And what is the conceptual function of my na'ibul fa'il? So you talked about the conceptual function. Yes, in this sentence, what is the object of the verb in essence? The thing that we're talking about to be opened is the door, right? Recipient of the action. So conceptually, yes, it is like the maf'ulun bihi, the recipient of an action, the object of a verb. So conceptually, yes, in an active sentence, if I were to say something like, I have not yet opened the door, right? Where it's an active sentence, I know who's the doer. The door in that sentence would be the maf'ulun bihi, like you said, lam aftah al-baba, or lamma, right? I have not yet opened the door. Grammatically, it functions the same as the fa'il though. So grammatically, the na'ibul fa'il will follow the same grammatical rules as the fa'il. Meaning you have to look at whether it's an inside or an outside, you have to make it marfu', etc. So when you're looking at sentences like these, lamma yuftah al-babu, the reason why we're making it marfu' is because we're looking at the grammar here. We're looking at the i'rab it will take. For the i'rab, when I need to make those types of determinations, I'm going to look at the rules of the fa'il. So if you kind of want to think about it in terms of like order, you would look at the conceptual communication first, meaning you would read the sentence and be like, okay, the door is the recipient of the action in an active sentence. So that must mean it's the na'ibul fa'il. Okay, now that I have pinpointed the na'ibul fa'il in my sentence, I'm going to go to the grammatical rules of the fa'il and make it marfu'. Does that make sense, Khadija?
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I keep so this applies only to like active and passive or just one? Like
Na'ibul
one.
is
Uh-huh.
of passive sentences only.
Okay. And then if it was active, the bab in this case would have been like nasb, right? If it wasn't an active. Okay.
Yes, na'ibul fa'il. Na'ib is literally like a replacement or a substitute. That's what na'ib literally means. So the reason why we have to have a na'ibul fa'il here is because we don't know who the actual fa'il is.
Okay. Thank you.
If it was, the doors have not been opened yet, would it be lamma yuftahu al-abwabu?
Abwab is inanimate plural. So I need to make the,
It would be female. So it would have to be feminine.
yes. All I would do is change it to hiya. It would be lamma
Tuftah
tuftah
al-abwabu.
al-abwabu.
And for some reason, if the doors came before, like the Muslims did in that quiz question, then they would have to be plural. And then opening would have to be plural.
If the doors were still
Yeah.
plural?
The
No,
doors
be-
have not yet been opened, technically.
Right, if we did it, if we have this, the whole order switching, whatever, abwab, regardless of where it comes in the sentence, it's always feminine singular.
Oh,
This is an inanimate plural, it will always be treated like that.
Okay.
Any other questions on this one? Okay, last one, I know we're out of time. Strike, a command to a masculine plural group. Strike, so that the enemy is being killed. Strike so that the enemy is killed. Oh, oops. Okay. All right, so how do I start my sentence off with my command to a masculine plural group, telling them to strike? Close. I heard idribu. Daraba yadribu, idribu. Idribu. So that. Okay. All right. The enemy is being killed. Inside or outside doer?
Outside.
What conjugation?
What?
هو. What إعراب? Mansub. Okay, so I have a number of tasks to do here. I have to make my next word مضارع. هو مجهول and mansub. Okay. So, what is my verb here?
يقتل.
يقتل. All right, and then the rest is smooth sailing. The enemy. العدو. Woo.
Oh, yes.
It's not enemy, it's in the plural.
No, the enemy. It would just change the sentence. That would be enemies are killed. Diplomatically, this one. All right. اضربوا لكي يقتل العدو. So our sentences are getting a lot more involved. It is helpful, just like you would in a math class, to like make little annotations or notes or show your work to the side. Keep it, if I were to, break the sentence down, say, okay, I know I have a verb here, قتل يقتل. I need to make sure it follows the same thing. Okay, and I'm gonna make a checklist. Is it هو? Yes. Is it مجهول? Yes. Is it مضارع? Yes. Is it mansub? Yes. So however your brain works best, that it's obviously your determination to make, but if it's helpful to make these like notes on the side, definitely do that. I feel like oftentimes folks who get overwhelmed just by the sheer number of tasks you have to do just to come up with one word, are assisted by just taking little notes. Okay. All right. We will pause here for now. These are some drills that are corresponded to the work that we did, or the concepts that we covered in class. I will probably make some of these homework, but if I don't, these are all great practice for you to do. And some Quranic examples, and then we'll talk about verb transitivity next time. We talked about it already in passing, but we'll go a little bit more in depth into it next time. Okay, but go ahead and do these drills just as extra practice, and then I will likely make one or some of these homework. Okay. Any questions on what we covered today?
The last word, العدو, that was the negative side for that.
Yes, العدو is the نائب الفاعل in this sentence.
For the final, to just kind of start preparing, do you have like any practice test like from like last year or any of the old years that we could like, I don't know, like use with an answer key to practice or anything like that?
So the best practice test for the final that I always give folks is just all our quizzes. At this point, we're on class number 14. So that's like, little over like a dozen-ish quizzes. So that's the best practice, is just make that you are super, super, super solid. Like the quiz we did today, you can mess around with it a little bit, make some of the masculine things feminine, make some of the plural things singular, change around those types of things. But that is the best way to prepare for
Sure. Sounds good.
Any other questions? How's everybody feeling about this? Is it one of those things that is just going to take some time for it to marinate, but conceptually it's okay? Okay. So we all understand the core basis. Yes? All right. Cool. So we will reconvene next week, inshallah ta'ala, for our last class before the break. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanallah al-azim, subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk, sallallahu ala khayri khalqika Muhammad, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
loved pistachio, like anything pistachio, especially when it like came to ice cream. She just loved pistachio in general. Like, dude, pistachio, what? So I was like cookies and cream, chocolate chip, and then subhanAllah. Decades later, there are.
Had the that one gelato one in the blend.
I know what you're talking about. I have not had that pistachio one.
Is that the clear container?
Yeah, the clear container with the brown cover. Yeah. That- I've had their mango one thing, but I wasn't a fan of their. You know, it's really good kulfis.
Pistachio kulfi?
And mango kulfi
Yeah. And malai.
and malai. See, once again, malai is one of those things I would never eat as a kid. I don't know. It's a couple years malai. I don't even know what malai is. I don't know what it is.
It means cream.
Huh?
It means cream.
That's what it means? It means cream.
Yeah, cream.
Like like besides that, okay, that's what else? Like just cream.
Cream and sugar.
Bro. I have no idea. What? I don't know. I have no idea.
I thought malai was like this the like skin thing. That
Yeah, that's what the
forms
cream.
on top of
The cream.
but yeah. That's
The what? The what?
like when you make chai and like the top gets like that layer.
Or when you boil milk.
That's malai?
Malai even. Malai.
You know that meat market in Corona.
Spice it up.
Especially, yeah, especially. They sell coffee.
Yeah, yeah. No, most of the stores sell kulfi. It's the same brand.
It's that same
They have a
brand.
little monopoly.
Yeah, I have Monopoly. I just want someone from those people who have Monopoly to make a monthly delivery to my house. Rama, you seem like you've never had a coffee before in your life. You're missing out. It's made by Desi.
Honestly, like I've never had any like Middle Eastern like Desi sweet that I've liked period.
Ever?
Ever. I've never had
That you've never had one that you liked?
never.
Come on.
Dude, have you ever had a gulab jamun?
Yeah, have you ever had gulab jamun? No, if you haven't probably there's nothing that hits like.
Okay, that's.
The cheese is
I'll give you a-
not the nuts. You're like,
To me, like, coming from like just being American, like not ever having that when I was young, it's not sweet to me. It's not like what I think of when I have sweets.
Well, I'm generally with you, like I'm not like, but like there's certain sweet. Come
I think
on.
that's exciting, but I don't know, but like each time they have like not everyone brings sweets.
Like I can't imagine Jannah without gulab jamun.
Okay. Just like when Ramadan. when they
Okay,
talk-
people bring the stuff to like Ramadan stuff. They're just grabbing like the store bought.
yes.
Yeah.
It looks like a pretzel. It looks like a pretzel.
No. But what's jalebi. No.
His mother, maybe. I'm not gonna have it.
No, just make dua for his mother. No, just make Some people like those. I don't understand it.
Variety of sweet.
Some people like those. I don't understand it. I think I liked it as a kid, but no, it is no. That is bad. Please don't judge the people based on that. It's unfair. It's unfair. Throw that one out. I would say it starts at gulab jamun, but it has to be like a good gulab jamun. Some people, no. But sometimes it gets fun. What's the other one? The
Kheer,
Rasmalai.
rasmalai. No,
burfi.
depending.
Depends on the mix.
Yeah, it depends.
Also sound like Barbie.
Yeah. Ras malai, if it's done properly, it hits. I will, sorry, not to be. Arab sweets are kind of like. I'm sorry. Look, I would love kanafa if it didn't have cheese.
Same here. It's like a sweet pizza.
Huh? You agree? You don't like the cheese? But they all have cheese. What do you? Huh? What? Sorry. I prefer kanafa just like the
flaky part.
the flaky part,
Yeah.
the outer part. That stuff is great. Don't put cream and cheese in it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know.
And then you go to like the Arab sweet stores and they got like these I've seen the Arab world so in I know it's not Arab, but like they just sell them too much. It's like the like these tasteless cookies. You know what I'm talking about?
You're going to look
No, come on. Huh?
One that looks like they have the design.
There's so many different designs. They're just tasteless.
What, like, keep crust by itself or like Thailand by itself? You don't eat those things by itself. Yeah, but I'm just saying.
No, but they got like 25 different versions of cookies that all are different shapes that all taste no taste.
They all the same taste of no taste, but they all have different shapes.
Abdurrahman, am I right? You know what I'm talking about? But are they tasteless? Are they?
They crumble everywhere.
They
Can't see them in a car.
and then on some of them they put like the little red it's not cherry, it's little jelly on top. I'm like, dude, if you put some that's one example. That's one of many examples.
Can we make that the Turkish one when it came?
Huh?
The Turkish beat everybody when it came to the.
Are we giving the Turkish baklava like
Yeah, like the
Bakla-
Turkish baklava.
they get the baklava? If we give them the baklava, then yeah. Because like when you do baklava in the Arab world, it's either complete miss or it's acceptable.
Yeah, all those cookies.
Yeah.
As soon as you bite into them, it's just powder everywhere.
Huh?
That's what they do.
It's like eating right.
Like that, and I was and then you have that.
I have Jubin. No. If I have Jubin, I want it on my pizza or my burger.
What's good is that lawa when it's with the yeah, like when it has a good nut and it's mellow and it's the phyllo pastry, like the flaky, not the okay, not the street one, but that's really good. That's good. You can't go. It's like the turkey. You can't go.
I just feel like come off offensive. I don't want to apologize. I just want to be honest with you. I love Arabs. I lived in the Arab world, but Arab food and Arab sweets. I mean,
Like we got the best language from them.
well, we have the language from them. Alhamdulillah. Look, I can't eat rice and chicken. I'm just saying, but like if you give it some taste, you call it biryani. I'm sorry. Sorry,
What's
Rana.
the thing that the Arabs like? They think it's like the biryani. It's like called kuchri. Kuchri.
Kuchri? Kuchri is Egyptian.
Egyptian are Arabs?
They are. No, I'm just saying. Just like it's
They're
not.
like
It's not. It's just. It's like. It's like.
specific to that.
It's like. Would you call it? It's like closer to like noodles and it is rice. Rice pasta. Rama, you're Palestinian, and You're Egyptian. Like Maqluba, like, huh?
That's amazing. I mean, we compare it to like Daisy food for sure. Daisy food blows out the water. Of course. I'm just saying, why. So you can't compare it.
Okay, it does.
If you're used to Daisy food, nothing will ever match a pan stand for you. If you're used yeah, yeah.
What'd you say with me?
Not used to Daisy food,
You-
very overpowering compared to like what you grew up eating.
Yeah, it's just making it. There's nothing.
That is not true.
Listen, they had wars over who's gonna control the spice route. When all the spices were India, like that's why they colonized India. So it's pretty big deal.
Look, there are certain Daisy dishes that I don't like. I don't care for it. You know? Like brain, I'm not. Some people eat brain. That's not my thing. I'm like, huh? I used to when I was a kid, man. I despise it now. I can't. Which is liver. Liver. You have a preference here, Grant? Arab food, Desi food?
I'm not too sure. I probably don't know enough to know the difference. Like, I just have it like Juma, like, you know, Ramadan. Time.
Ask you a question. Have you ever been to a wedding or any type of gathering or banquet? Okay. And afterwards, you or your friends or someone you know is like, oh man, that was some amazing Desi food. Have you ever gone? Yeah. Have you ever gone to a similar event? People walked out and like, oh, that was some amazing Arab food.
Sometimes. If the COVID is not, right?
No, the COVID day is not the COVID day is a cheat. It's Persian. That's why no, the COVID day is Persian. That one I'll give the Persian. No.
What's the thing they flip upside down?
Maqluba.
That's good.
It's rice and chicken,
You know
bro.
what? No, what about mandi? What about a really good mandi? Who lays claim to it? The Yemenis?
The Yemenis, right? The Yemenis?
Yeah, it's like a pulao. It's delicious. Yemen mandi.
The flavor is there. It's just, yeah, I'll take it over Maqluba, but it's not like.
And nothing can beat biryani. Like straight up. Not like honestly, a prime steak cannot even beat biryani.
Huh?
Maybe a really good steak can't even beat biryani.
Yeah, what about Shalom? Shalom, you ever tried like authentic?
Oh my god. Don't tell me you don't.
No, okay, good. There, that's it. Good shawarma. Good shawarma, yeah. Good shawarma is, huh? There's a lot that can be done. But I'm just saying, shawarma is at my top. Like, yeah, it is. If it's good, but at times it's difficult to find a good shawarma. You know,
Like they have like 10 staples. Biryani, nihari, this and that. It's like
that's the yeah.
like a good like a goat korma. Who can beat it?
Like what's the chicken tikka is good, but you know what I'm saying? Like even within the Desi menu, it gets pushed down because there's so many. The chicken tikka would beat out so many other.
Yeah, bihari kebab.
It would beat out so many other cuisines, and it's like the second tier of Desi food.
It's like the yeah.
And then, I'm not like like even the way DJ told me like, aren't you Desi? Like I'm not one that like holds my Desi card hard and strong. But I'm like, dude, you just gotta be honest when it comes to.
I think most people like recognize the best.
Yeah, and I think your opinion matters here because you're coming from, the the Desi and the Arabs. Yeah.
Like even chai. Like chai is really good. A really good chai, like a good pati chai. Right? A really good chai, dude. What? One of the best parts about marrying a Desi woman is she makes you chai. Like best part.
Well,
And if you live in the West, you make her chai. Because of feminine.
Okay, great. Sweets. What are we talking about?
Ice cream, cookies.
Ice cream, cookies, brownie. I mean, that is at the top. I do not disagree with you with that. Ice cream, cookies, brownie.
Cinnamon rolls, like Western.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Every single one that you mentioned. I completely agree with you. Okay, food wise.
Mexican food, Asian food, like Chinese food.
Do you differentiate between Asian food and Chinese food?
No, but like difference in between like I guess like biryani and they all have like basic food, but like from Japan, like Chinese
Yeah.
food, sushi,
Yeah.
American food, you know, chicken pot pie, meatloaf.
Meatloaf. That's like prison food.
Um, there was one more. Okay, let me see. All right. Oh, man. I think I attended all the areas. My apologies. I did not mean to be so truthful and I'm just like, you make a big deal about Makaluba.
No, Mensa.
Huh?
You're trying Mensa?
I'm like, but like Makaluba, I'm like, maybe if you put some taste in it, you wouldn't have to turn it over.
Keep turning it until it tastes good.
Like, have you tried Makaluba taste? It might add taste.
I'm sorry.
I tell you guys, I didn't know this, but I learned this while living in Medina, that like, obviously, I don't know if it's like any staple or authentic Saudi food, but it's essentially rice and chicken at the end of the day, rice and goat, rice and camel, something, right? But as a way of like, and I think this exists in other Arab countries, but definitely in Saudi Arabia, as a way of like honoring the guest, right? Is that let's say you invite a family or you invite a number of families, wherever the main guest is going to sit, let's say for the family, so the head of the family, right? Obviously, they have the tradition of like the big plate and the rice and the meat, right? Now, generally, because meat is more expensive and meat is considered more of a luxury than chicken, like you'll see generally go to people's houses, they serve meat. And when we say meat, lamb, right? But as a way of honoring the guest, they'll put the head of the goat on the plate, right? As a way of indicating to the guest that we slaughtered this animal for you. You get it? Right? So like literally like the head of the goat will be on the plate, like obviously cooked, but like eyeballs and tongue sticking out. No joke, wallahi, like eyeball and tongue just on the plate, dude. And as a Westerner, that doesn't sit well with you. Right?
So if you're the honored guest and it's sitting right next to you.
It's sitting right next to you, right?
You wanna eat it.
Huh? No, it's literally looking at you while you eat it. Honestly, no, it's right. So we went to this was like a number of years ago. We went to Sheikh's house. He invited a whole bunch of Western students. Like there was like a lot of people there, and then well-known Sheikh invites everybody to his house. And then the time for food comes, right? There's a lot of people, so you got a lot of different plates, and 5, 6, 7 people to a plate that all sitting around. I remember I sat down with a few friends, and this the location we sat in, the plate was there, and the head is there. I was like, oh, we'll just go move. Right? We go move to another place. It was a head there. And we like literally moved like 3 or 4 times, right? And then until we realized that I think like every single plate they put a head on it. Like once again, the tradition and the hospitality was like, hey, this is the way we honor people, right? And we just sat there and like it's kind of awkward as a Westerner, right? Not that you're being unappreciative, it's just not our culture, right? And I remember one of the Sheikh's sons, he had a couple of sons, they were like serving us and this and that. And one of the students was like, hey, look, I'm gonna be honest, what do we do with this joy, right? And the Sheikh's son was like, oh, I got this. He pulled out the tongue and started eating it. But like normal. It's their tradition, it's their culture. Just like I was like, dude, I was like, can you just pick up the thing and move it? Huh? It's basically the head. It's basically the head, skinned and cooked, and everything else is still there. Right? I was like, wow, I appreciate it. It just kills the appetite in the moment. All right, Bismillah. Page 23. Page 23. So yesterday we covered, 2 days ago we did al-maf'ulu bihi, which was the maf'ul that we've been doing, the who or the what. Yesterday we did al-maf'ulu fihi, which is when or where the action takes place. Then we did number 3, al-maf'ulu lahu, also known as al-maf'ulu li ajlihi, why the action was done. And then number 4, which is al-maf'ul al-mutlaq, which is a way of emphasizing the verb or indicating how many times the verb was done, or also giving a description to the action that was done, right? And then we also covered hal. And then number 6 is al-muta'alliq bil-fi'li. Once again, not necessarily this is not number 6, is also just like number 5 in the sense that it is not a maf'ul. Number 6 is not a maf'ul. Recall that a jar and a majroor within a jumla ismiya is labeled as a muta'alliq bil-khabar. Within a jumla fi'liya, a jar and a majroor is labeled as muta'alliqun bil-fi'l. Literally means related to or associated with the verb. There are many af'al that are associated with the harf. For example, nadhara, which means to look, comes with ila. So if we wanted to say he looked at him, we would say nadhara ilayhi rather than nadharahu, right? As you will learn, certain verbs they're always used with certain verbs. Sorry, certain verbs are always used with certain particles or huruf. There are many such examples. A fi'lun coming with an accompanying harf is very common. Note that huruf that are associated with af'al do not always have to be translated. نَظَرَ بَعْضُهُمْ إِلَى بَعْضٍ. They looked at each other. Literally, some of them looked at others. ثُمَّ صَرَفَكُمْ عَنْهُمْ. Then he averted you or turned you all away from them. Right? So نَظَرَ used with إِلَى, صَرَفَ used with عَنْ, the verb to perceive or feel, شَعَرَ يَشْعُرُ, used with the harf jar ba. Clear? Or like the verb, one of the verbs to come. So there's a lot of verbs to come. You have ja'a, which means to come. You have hadara, which means to attend or to be present. You have hadara, ja'a. You have ata. Ata ya'ti means to come. But ata ya'ti, when used with the harf jar ba, means to bring. So for example, if you said ataytu means I came. But if you said ataytu bihi, I brought him or I brought it. Clear? Okay. Drill for conceptual questions. The status of a maf'ul is always Siraj nasbun. The 4 types of mafa'il and one other detail are number 1, Tayyib, it says, go in order.
مفعول فيه.
The first one.
The first one. مفعول به.
مفعول به, and it answers the question of Tayyib.
Who
and
the receiver of the
who and what?
Who and what?
Who and what, I think, right? What they used? I'm making that up there.
Yeah, who and what?
Who and what? Okay. Okay. The second one, Michelle. Maf'ulun fihi, and answers the question of when or where. Then the third one, Salma. Maf'ulun lahu, also known as maf'ul li ajli, and answers the question of why. And then the fourth one, Grant. Maf'ul mutlaq, and it
Emphasizes the action.
Emphasizes the action. And then and then five Sa'ad was al-hal, and it answers the question of how. Good. And then number 3, it says the correct way to attach the pronoun hum to the verb darabtum is, ya Abdurrahman, darabtum plus the pronoun hum. You want to say all of you hit them. DJ? Darabtumuhum, right? This idea of adding an extra wow. So darabtum, all of you hit, and you want to say all of you hit them. So darabtumuhum. True or false? A jumlatun fi'liyatun requires at least one type of detail to be complete. Rama? One type of detail. Either it needs one of the maf'uls, or it needs a hal or something. False, right? It doesn't. Yes.
So for number 6, متعلق بالفعل, the ila is that, or is it the whole?
The whole thing, the whole phrase. So just like when you have, for example, الطالب في الفصل, the في الفصل, the entire thing will be the متعلق بالخبر. Similarly, the entire thing, the fragment or the phrase, all of that will be the متعلق بالفعل, right? But if it was just the individual thing, then إلى عن, wherever they show up in a jumla ismiya, jumla fi'liya is going to be a harf. Like we'll say a harf jar or a jar. Yes, Sa'ad. متعلق بالفعل. Yes, the entire thing إليه, which consists of a harf jar and a ضمير متصل.
But the harf jar rule supersedes the nasbun rule, so it's going to be fi mahalli nasbin, but it's going to have a kasra on it because of harf jar.
It didn't say it's maf'ul.
No, wait, what?
It just said it's a متعلق بالفعل. It said nothing about maf'ul.
No, not maf'ul. I said mansub. Doesn't it have to be mansub? All the
mafa'il have to be.
Oh, this is not a maf'ul. That's what you were saying.
This is not a maf'ul.
Al-hal on this are not maf'ul.
Correct.
Why is it group?
Because it's the idea of you're adding something to a jumla fi'liya, right? It's a level of detail that's being added to the verb. Okay, he says, underline drill 5, yes. Underline the fi'lun once, the fa'ilun twice, and the detail 3 times. If the fa'ilun is an inside pronoun, then write it out underneath the fi'l. Rama, go ahead and do number 1. First of all, read it. قاتلهم الله, identified the fi'l, fa'il, and if there's a maf'ul. قاتل is the fi'l, that's family 3. قاتل means to? No. قتل means to kill, huh? Yeah, قاتل means to fight. قاتل means to fight. Okay, the fa'il is the word Allah, lafzul jalala, and is there a maf'ul? Yeah, the maf'ul is the attached pronoun hum, right? The phrasing قاتلهم الله literally linguistically means it can mean 2 things linguistically. It can mean Allah fought them, right? But usually, and I think I've said this before, that you can use the past tense verb as well as the present tense verb to indicate dua, right? For example, when a person dies and you say غفر الله له, غفر الله له, it literally means Allah has forgiven him. But you're allowed in Arabic to use the past and the present verbs as a type of dua. So غفر الله له technically means may Allah forgive him. Similarly, قاتلهم الله, if you were to translate it in the past tense, it means Allah fought them. Now, pause for a second. What is intended by the phrase قاتلهم الله is may Allah curse them. That is the intended meaning behind the phrase قاتلهم الله. May Allah curse them, not may Allah fight them.
Why is it not
Because you can use the past and the present. It's more common actually to use the past tense as a type of dua. Just the way the Arabs used verbs, right? But like I said, you can use both, but it is more common if you look at a hadith and stuff, it is more common to use the past, right? But for example, when a person sneezes, right? What is the person after the person says Alhamdulillah, the person says Yarhamukallah, right? Which is a present tense verb. Rahima yarhamu. May Allah have mercy on you. And then the person responds Yahdikumullah wa yuslihu balakum, which are also present tense verbs. May Allah guide you, may He rectify your affairs, right? Number two, Salma. وقتل داوود جالوت. Identify the فعل, the فاعل, المفعول. Yeah, so قتل is the فعل, داوود is the فاعل, and جالوت is the مفعول. وقتل داوود جالوت, and David killed Goliath. Abdurrahman, read the next one. فجعلناهم سلفا ومثلا للآخرين.
So the fi'l is فجعلنا.
The what's the fi'l?
فجعلنا.
Yeah, technically it's without the fa. The verb is simply جعل, right? جعلنا. Where's the fa'il?
It's inside like
yeah, it's inside there. If you were to extract it, it's what pronoun? نحن. فجعلنا, we made, okay? Whom? Full stop. Sa'id. Amira.
Salafan is another.
Maf'ul. We said yesterday that certain verbs require two maf'uls. Amongst those verbs are ja'ala, right? So فَجَعَلْنَاهُمْ literally means we made them, right? But that's not a full sentence, right? We made them. Ja'ala is your fi'lun, the na, which is nahnu, is the fa'ilun, and hum is the maf'ulun bihi. And then salafan is the second maf'ul, right? Wa is a harfu 'atf. Mathalan is technically ma'tuf ala salafan. And then lil akharin over here would be your muta'alliqun bil fi'l, just to add a little bit extra, and translates as فَجَعَلْنَاهُمْ, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about people that were drowned in the previous verse. So He says فَجَعَلْنَاهُمْ, that we made them salafan, a precedent, meaning a precedent. وَمَثَلًا, like a precedent as in a lesson. وَمَثَلًا, and an example, لِلْآخَرِينَ, for others, meaning for those that would come after. Yes.
So the salafan, mathalan, and lil-akhirin. So salafan is maf'ulun bihi.
Second maf'ulun bihi.
Oh, and then the mathalan is also maf'ulun bihi because of the waw.
Waw is harfu 'atf. Mathalan technically gets labeled as ma'tuf ala salaf. It is a maf'ul essentially, right? But grammatically labeled, it gets the label of ma'tuf, meaning it's connected to the second maf'ulun bihi, which is salafan.
So when you label it, you just put ma'tuf, or do you put things after that?
Ma'tuf.
Okay, can I read one more time?
فَجَعَلْنَاهُمْ, that we made them salafan, a precedent or a lesson, وَمَثَلًا, and an example, لِلْآخَرِينَ, for the others, meaning for the later people. Number 4, Grant.
عذاب يوم
الظلة. There's no meme. الظلة. نعم. فأخذهم عذاب يوم الظلة.
أخذ is the fi'l, hum is the maf'ulun bihi, adabu is the fa'ilun, and that's it.
Yeah, so he said أخذ is the fi'lun, hum, the attached pronoun, is the maf'ulun bihi, Adabu is the, what did you say? Fa'ilun, right? And then yawmi would be a مضاف إليه as well as a مضاف, and then ظلتي would be a مضاف إليه, right? So Allah says فأخذهم عذاب يوم الظلة, the punishment of يوم الظلة. The punishment of the of dhulla over here refers to a dark black cloud in this context. So the punishment of the day of the dark cloud, the punishment of the day of the black cloud or the dark black cloud seized them. Once again, عذاب يوم الظلة, the punishment of the day of the dark cloud seized them. Yes.
It says to underline the fire. So what the fire, when underlining, would it just be a adab or would it be W?
Just عذاب. Right. Once again, macro, micro. عذاب يوم الظلة. You could say the whole thing is the fa'il, but when we start breaking it down, عذاب is going to be the fa'il because it's the word that's marfu'. As for يومي, it's مضاف إليه, المضاف, and الظلة is مضاف إليه. Yes.
When doing this sort of exercise, is it more common to do the micro?
Depends
No,
on
not
who's
like this particular exercise. Whenever you're like going through sentences,
Yeah, yeah.
you gotta like go in more detail.
I mean, more detail will kind of help you with grammar along the way. You know, just kind of break things down. After that, let's go. Yeah, Isa, number 5.
أرسلنا موسى بآياتنا.
أرسلنا موسى بآياتنا. Go ahead.
Label it or translate it.
Label it.
أرسلنا is فعل. Musa is the مفعول به, and then بآياتنا would be متعلق بالفعل.
Good. You just didn't identify the fa'il.
Is it ضمير مستتر?
Yeah, which is what? If you extract.
نحن.
نحن, right? So أرسلنا, أرسل is the verb. The na, which indicates نحن, is the fa'ilun. Musa is your مفعول به. And بآياتنا, in this context, we will label it as, even though the exercise is not asking for this, بآياتنا would be our متعلق بالفعل. It's basically a jar and a majroor that's connected to or associated to the verb. أرسلنا موسى بآياتنا, that we sent Musa with our signs, right? He mentioned over here that Musa is the maf'ulun bihi. Musa is in a state of nasb, but obviously the type of word that Musa is, which is called muqaddar, right? It's not going to show it. Musa is going to be pronounced and uttered and written the same way, regardless of what state it shows up in. Bayan, number 6.
وعدكم وعد الحق ووعدتكم فأخلفتكم. وعد is the فعل. حكم is the مفعول به. And I'm not sure what the last one is.
طيب, take it from the beginning.
وعدكم. So wa'ada is the fi'lun.
Wa'ada is the fi'lun, okay.
Kum is the maf'ulun bihi.
Kum is the maf'ulun bihi.
And wa'da.
Where's the fa'ilun?
The fa'ilun is, it's hidden. Wa'ada.
So if you take extract it,
it's huwa.
Huwa. Good. So he said wa'adakum. Wa'ada is the fi'lun. The fa'ilun is within the verb. It's huwa. And kum is the maf'ulun bihi. Continue.
The wa'da is the mudafun. And
Rahman, what's wa'ada? The grammatical label of it.
Wa'ada is the
Michelle? Selma?
Oh.
TJ? Grant?
مفعول مطلق.
It's the maf'ul mutlaq. وعدكم وعد الحق, right? Remember, we said about the maf'ul mutlaq, it emphasizes the verb, usually shows up as a masdar, and usually, and in this case, it is the masdar of wa'ada, right? Wa'adun is the masdar of wa'ada, right? So, wa'adakum wa'ad al-haqqi, that, and this is said in the context of Surah Ibrahim, where after the people of the hellfire have entered the hellfire, and Shaitan is speaking to the people of the hellfire and saying to them that wa'adakum wa'ad al-haqqi, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He promised you wa'ad al-haqqi, the promise of truth. He promised you the promise of truth. So wa'ada fi'lun fa'ilun damirun mustatirun, it's huwa. Kum is your maf'ulun bihi. Wa'ada is your maf'ul mutlaq. And al-haqqi is your Rama mudafun ilay, right? Then you have وَوَعَدْتُكُمْ. وحرف عطف. وَعَدْتُكُمْ يا Rama. No, break down وَعَدْتُكُمْ. Well, this is now the second wa'ada. So wa'ada is the fi'lun. Tukum, it's like. The kum is the maf'ulun bi, okay, the fa'il. Huh? Wa'adtukum. Wa'adtukum. Ana, right? So wa'ada is your fi'lun. The two indicates ana, which is the fa'il. The kum is the maf'ulun bihi, right? So that's your second one. And then you have a third verb, grant. فَأَخْلَفْتُكُمْ. The fa is the harf wa'atf over here. Take it from there.
So khalaf
No.
is the
أخلف.
akhlaf is the fi'lun.
أخلف is the fi'lun.
Two indicates ana.
Two indicates ana, which is the fa'ilun.
Kum is the maf'ulun bihi.
Kum is the maf'ulun bihi. And when used in the context of a promise, أخلف means to break a promise, right? So Shaitan, he says to the people, وَعَدَكُمْ وَعَدَ الْحَقِّ, that Allah, He promised you, وَعَدَ الْحَقِّ, the promise of truth, وَوَعَدْتُكُمْ, and I made you a promise, فَأَخْلَفْتُكُمْ, however, I have broken my promise to all of you. أخلف is upon family 4. So once again, وَعَدَ, the first وَعَدَ, فِعْلٌ. The fa'il is huwa, the kum is maf'ulun bihi, wa'ada is maf'ul mutlaq, al-haqqi mudafun ilayh. Then وَوَعَدْتُكُمْ, the first wa was harf al-'atf. Then again, wa'ada is the fi'lun, the two indicate ana, that's your fa'il. Kum is a maf'ulun bihi, fa harf 'atf. Akhlafa is a fi'l, the two once again indicates ana, which is your fa'il, and kum is your maf'ulun bihi. Yes.
You had went over another usage of the wow, right? That was also still in and. I think this week or last week. I don't remember the name of it.
The waw al-hal.
Yeah, I think that so. Yeah, but this one didn't seem like a wow out in the sense that it caused like the Well, how is it a wow out if it's not causing like the rules to be applied to what was applied?
So sorry, when we say harf 'atf, all we're saying that it's a connecting letter, right? Over here, necessarily the rules don't have to. So over here, no rule is being transferred over, or like no rule is being going back to the other one. Number 7, Amira. ربطنا على قلبها.
Would be the
ربط would be the fi'l.
na is the fa'il mabni.
Na, which is nahnu, is the fa'il.
And then على قلبها would be the متعلق بالفعل.
على قلبها would be your متعلق بالفعل. ربطنا, ربط means to tie, right? So literally it means it's talking about the mother of Musa after she had put Musa into the body of water, and she felt this emptiness, this anxiety, this fear, this sadness. Allah says ربطنا على قلبها literally means like we tied upon her heart, which is a way of Allah indicating that we gave her strength and firmness, right? ربطنا على قلبها, literally, we tied على قلبها, upon her heart. 8 يا خديجة. محمد مرديني 8.
وحرمنا عليه المراضع.
نعم, وحرمنا عليه المراضع. Identify فعل, فاعل, مفعول. And anything else?
The فعل is حرم.
Yeah, the فعل
حرمنا.
is حرمة. The فعل is حرمة. The فاعل is.
And the فاعل is the نحن.
Yeah, the na, which indicates نحن. What about عليه?
عليه, no.
What about عليه?
Oh, like what do you mean?
Give
like
it a
what's
label.
its عليه is it the مجرور and the
DJ, what's عليه? عبد الرحمن, عليه? Grant, عليه? متعلق بالفعل, which is just a jar and a مجرور that's connected or associated to a verb. Mardini, Muhammad, المراضع.
It's مراضعها. Is it متعلق? I don't know.
DJ? Siraj? مفعول به. مفعول به. Allah says وحرمنا, that we prevented him, we prevented عليه him المراضع, from the المراضع are those women who nurse children. So we prevented him from the nursing women, if you want, the classical term, the wet nurses. وحرمنا عليه المراضع, meaning we prevented him from nursing from them.
Wait, so
yes.
What was عليه? I missed it.
عليه is the متعلق بالفعل. It's what we covered at the beginning of the class.
So, like, literally is upon him?
Literally, but we prevented him from. Yeah. Can you say وحرمنا المراضع عليه? You can, but it gives a different implication then. It basically, like, but the idea was that he was prevented, right? As opposed to they were prevented from him, if you switch the order. So this order indicates that he was the one that could not nurse. They had the ability to nurse, or but he could not, right? So وحرمنا عليه المراضع.
Is there any instance where, like with the jumlatul ismiyah too, we would put muqaddamun, mu'akhkharun,
not مقدم مؤخر. In some rare instances where the مفعول comes before the فعل, then you could put مفعول مقدم, but not necessarily. You don't have the مقدم مؤخر concept, right? حرم, to prohibit, to prevent. The na indicates نحن, عليه متعلق بالفعل. المراضع simply مفعول به.
Is this another
It doesn't require it. It can have it. This one doesn't require it. So, for example, Allah could say, حرمنا الخمر. We have prohibited intoxication. Doesn't need a second maf'ul. But, and over here, it doesn't necessarily have a second maf'ul, like it has عليه. حرم. You could zoom out and say at the end of the day that متعلق بالفعل is acting as a مفعول به, right? But generally, yes, when you talk about harama, you're talking about what has been made prohibited or what has been prevented, essentially, and who it's been prevented or prohibited upon, but usually that's indicated through ala. So harama will be used with ala. Number nine, Siraj.
بلغ أشده.
بلغ أشده.
بلغ is the fi'l.
بلغ is the fi'lun. The fa'ilun is inside, which is هو, and أشد is your مفعول به. The attached ha is the مضاف إليه. بلغ أشده, it's talking about Musa alayhi salam. بلغ أشده, like he reached بلغ أشده, his age of maturity, meaning his strength, his power. 10, Salma. أكله الذئب. أكله would be the فعل.
Actually, it's the fragments of big.
The فاعل is الذئب. Yeah, and the who is the maf'ul. So أكل is your verb, your فعل. The attached pronoun is your مفعول به, as always. And الذئب is the فاعل. And أكله الذئب means the wolf ate him. This is from the story of Yusuf. أكله الذئب. The wolf ate him. Rama, the next one. أعتدت would be your فعل. The فاعل would be a ضمير مستتر, which is here, built into the verb. لهن would be the متعلق بالفعل. And متكئا would be the مفعول به. This is also from the story of Yusuf. وأعتدت لهن. And she prepared for them متكئا. And متكئا means some type of banquet, some type of feast, essentially. 12, Amira.
أذن مؤذن.
أذن مؤذن.
أذن is the verb.
أذن is the فعل.
And مؤذن would be the verb.
And مؤذن would be the فاعل, right? أذن مؤذن would simply translate as a caller called out, or a caller made an announcement. The verb أذن literally means to make an announcement or to make a call. From it we get the adhan, right? The person who makes the adhan is mu'adhin, but in reality, linguistically, mu'adhin is somebody who makes an announcement or a call. أذن مؤذن. Abdul Rahman, do the sarf saghir of أذن. The sarf of أذن. Family 2. علم يعلم تعليما فهو معلم. أذن
يؤذن تأذينا فهو مؤذن. مؤذنا يؤذن تأذينا فهو مؤذن. أذن لا تؤذن مؤذن.
Good. 13. Isa.
واتبعت ملة آبائي.
واتبعت ملة آبائي. Go ahead.
واتبعت is the
اتبع, the verb over here is اتبع.
اتبع. The pronoun is أنا, or the ضمير مستتر.
فاعل is أنا.
ملة مفعول به.
Good.
And then آبائي, that's مضاف إليه.
Abai is composed of two words.
There's a مضاف and a مضاف إليه.
Which is what word?
So abun, and then the attached pronoun.
No abun here. There's aba. What Isa is trying to say is that ittaba'a is your fi'lun. The two indicates ana, which is your fa'ilun. Millata is your maf'ulun bihi. And then the word aba, which is the plural of abun, aba is mudafun ilay plus mudafun. And the attached pronoun, the ya al-mutakallim, is your mudafun ilay. Right, Isa?
Yeah.
وَاتَّبَعْتُ مِلَّةَ آبَائِي. وَاتَّبَعْتُ means I followed مِلَّةَ آبَائِي, the way of my forefathers. I followed the way of my forefathers. Yes.
Does Milla also mean religion?
Religion, yes. Way, religion. DJ, 14. Yeah, labitha, the fa is just a connecting particle, but labitha is your fi'lun. Continue. Where's your fa'il? It's built in. What is it? Huwa. Okay, so your fi'lun is labitha. Your fa'ilun is huwa. Continue. في السجن is not مفعول به. في السجن is, what is it, guys? متعلق بالفعل. The fa is حرف جر, right? And السجن is your مجرور. Okay. بضع سنين مفعول به. أميرة. it'd be the مفعول فيه. it'd be the مفعول فيه, right? It indicates like how long. Yes. Right. No, it would not be. Sorry. مفعول مطلق. Not مفعول فيه. Not when or where. Sorry. How long? It would go under, technically it would go under مفعول مطلق. Huh? بضعة is a number. It's used in the Arabic language that indicates 3 to 10, 3 to 9.
8 or 9 years is what it's saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sinin is years.
Yeah.
And it basically is a way of saying number of years. And that number is, right, anywhere from 3 to 9. Yes.
The so it's مفعول مطلق. That's the one that emphasizes the fi'lun.
It emphasizes the fi'lun, or it describes the fi'lun, or it quantifies.
Oh, this was the last one.
Yeah.
Quantifying. Okay.
Yeah.
Because if it was one of the others, it would use most likely the root letters of the.
If it was the first type where it's
Yeah.
emphasizing, yeah.
Okay.
We said في السجن was متعلق بالفعل, right? He remained in prison for a number of years. 15 بيان.
What طائفة?
What is طائفة? A group.
Okay. فآمنت طائفة. آمن is the فعل, and then the فاعل is hidden, and it's here. فآمنت, like her.
Okay.
And then طائفة, you said it meant group?
Correct.
Okay, then that's مفعول فيه.
What state is it in?
It's in I forgot the word.
منصوب.
منصوب.
طائفة is منصوب, Ben? عيسى. فآمنت طائفة.
طائفة is مرفوع.
And what's its label?
The فاعل.
The فاعل. فآمنت طائفة. آمنت is your فعل, and طائفة is your فاعل. It is your فاعل, which means فآمنت طائفة. fa is a particle, a connecting particle. فآمنت طائفة. So a group, meaning a group of people, believed. Clear, بيان? آمنت is your فعل, طائفة is your فاعل, and there is no مفعول به. A group believed. 16 يا طيب.
إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح. إذا is.
Don't worry about either, just keep going.
Okay. جاء is the فعل. نصر the help of Allah. It's the it's an idaf construction.
Verb came, next word was marfu'.
It is the فاعل.
Yeah.
Okay, so the whole it's a verb.
Ja'a is a verb.
نصر.
No, this is nasru. This is not nasara.
Okay, sorry, that's what I was thinking. So help this is the Nasru is the فاعل. لفظ الجلالة is the مفعول به.
Allahi.
It's this I meant مضاف إليه.
مضاف إليه. Good.
والفتح
Okay.
is the واو
حرف عطف.
حرف عطف.
And الفتح is
الفتح is the thing
معطوف.
معطوف for نصر.
Good. So جاء is your فعل. نصر is your فاعل. لفظ الجلالة, the word Allah is your مضاف إليه. The واو is called the حرف عطف. And الفتح essentially it's معطوف, it's connected to the word نصر, right? In a way you can understand الفتح as like another فاعل, right? As if Allah is saying إذا جاء نصر الله وإذا جاء فتح الله. But instead of saying that, that's too wordy and that's too that's unnecessary. So إذا جاء نصر الله, that when إذا means over here when the you can understand Nasr as victory, and you can also understand it as help, right? When the victory of Allah and the conquest comes. When the victory of Allah or the help of Allah and the conquest comes. Yes.
So this al-Fathu would also mudafun, like it would be Fathu Allah.
Huh?
Would it also be like considered mudafun since it's not awesome?
No, it's not. It's not. Al-Fathu can't be. Al-Fathu.
It's not supposed to be
Huh?
It's not
No. Al-Fathu. It's the conquest. يعني.
But you're saying it's as if the
إذا جاء نصر الله. So I said, well, إذا جاء نصر الله وإذا جاء الفتح. Yeah. إذا not فتح. إذا جاء نصر الله وإذا جاء or وجاء الفتح, the conquest. Okay. 17 يا عبد الرحمن. فالتقطه آل فرعون. Go ahead. The verb is التقط. Good. The verb is التقط. The fa'il is آل and فرعون is the مضاف إليه. What about the ha in التقطه?
Oh, that's
Any ضمير that's attached to a verb automatically any ضمير that is attached to a verb is your
مفعول به.
مفعول به. The verb التقط means to pick up, right? It's talking about Musa alayhi salam in a basket, and Alu Fir'aun, the family of Fir'aun, they pick him up when they see this basket in the water. So فَالْتَقَطَهُ آلُ فِرْعَوْنَ, so the family the family of Fir'aun picked him up. التقط is your verb. The ha, the connected ha, is the مفعول به. آلُ is the فاعل, and فرعون is the مضاف إليه. Um, 18, Amira.
ولكننا أنشأنا قرونا فتطاول عليهم العلم.
Just take it from أنشأنا.
أنشأ is the verb.
أنشأ is the fi'l. What family is that?
Four.
4, Michelle. Go ahead. أنشأ. ينشئ. أنشأ ينشئ.
فهو منشئ
مهم.
ونشئ
أنشئ. ينشأ.
فهو منشئ
أنشئ.
أنشئ لا
أنشئ. إنشاء. أنشئ لا. أنشئ.
أنشئ
أنشئ. There's a همزة.
لا تنشئ
لا تنشئ. تنشئ.
تنشئ فهو
No, just not. Just without the فهو.
uh,
منشأ. Go ahead, continue يا أميرة. أنشأ is your فعل.
And the فاعل is نحن.
فاعل is نحن, indicated by na.
And then قرونا is مفعول به.
Good. قرونا is مفعول به. Before we continue, ولكن, Allah says, and however we, ولكن, however we, أنشأنا قرونا, we produced قرونا. قرونا are generations. The singular is قرن. The singular is قرن. The plural is قرونا. Or like أنشأنا, I said produced or brought into existence if you want. We produced or brought into existence قرونا, generations, meaning many generations. Then continue.
تطاول would be the verb.
تطاول would be the فعل. What family?
That would be 6.
That would be family 6, which we haven't learned, but we've introduced.
And هو would be.
فتطاول عليهم العمر.
Okay. العمر would be the فاعل.
العمر would be the فاعل, and عليهم would be the. Yeah, so تطاول would be your فعل. عليهم is your متعلق بالفعل, and العمر is your فاعل. So ولكننا أنشأنا قرونا, however we produced or brought into existence many generations. فتطاول عليهم العمر. العمر over here refers to their duration of life or their lifespan. فتطاول عليهم العمر, that it's a way of Allah saying they lived long lives. Literally, their duration or their lifespan, it extended or was kind of like prolonged.
So what is it talking about? This ayah.
It's talking about after Musa alayhi salam, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought many generations into existence, and they lived for long periods of time. Huh? Musa, in the context of Musa. 19, Siraj.
ورد ماء مدين. ورد is the فعل.
ورد is the فعل.
And هو is the فاعل.
هو is the فاعل, is built into the verb.
ماء is مفعول به.
ما is the مفعول به.
And مدين is the مضاف إليه.
And مدين is the مضاف إليه. ورد ماء مدين, and that he came to, talking about Musa, he came to or he arrived to the water of Madian. He arrived to the well of Madian, the watering place of Madian. Right? Yes.
Why is the maf'ul bihi second? Is that for rhetorical purposes? Did it have to be there?
What?
The maf'ul bihi?
Ma'a?
Yes.
Why is it second?
Yes.
To what?
Oh. Okay.
ورد is your فعل فاعل, مفعول, your مفعول is ماء.
And what's the fa'il?
It's built into ورد, key.
Oh, so what was the third word by?
مدين مضاف إليه.
مضاف إليه. Okay.
مدين is ممنوع من الصرف, therefore has a fatha.
Ma is maf'ulun fihi, right? Because it's like when and where he arrived.
True, yeah. He arrived to ماء مدين. Yeah, you could look at ماء مدين as a مفعول فيه. مفعول, yeah, could be a مفعول فيه. Let's talk about where he arrived to.
When doing the i'rab of these sentences, is it more important that you find the maf'ul? And then it is like, sometimes it could be both, bihi, etc.
Yeah, it's more important that you find it and then you determine what it is. 20, Selma. Yeah, so she said wa'ada, which is what family, Selma? That didn't sound. I'm sorry. 3. And then she said the na is nahnu, your fa'il, and Musa is your maf'ulun bihi, right? وَوَاعَدْنَا Musa, basically like we made an appointment. Musa, right? The with is kind of indicated here. Because of so much excitement, Salma, why don't you go ahead and do the self of wa'ada? وَاعَدَ يُوَاعِدُ. What is it, Saraj? وِعَادًا. وَاعَدَ يُوَاعِدُ وِعَادًا وَمُوَاعَدَةً فَهُوَ مُوَاعِدٌ. Yes. وُوعِدَ عدو. وعادا ومواعدة فهو مواعد. Good. واعد لا تواعد مواعد. And then 21, سعد. فوكزه موسى. Go ahead. Wakaza means to strike, yeah, or to hit.
So wakaza is the fi'lun, Musa is the fa'ilun, and who is the maf'ul?
Good. Wakaza is the fi'lun, the who is the maf'ulun, and Musa is the fa'ilun. فوكزه موسى. So Musa struck him. Okay, open up your process books. Very long chapter. Section 9. Yes. DJ read. Louder.
ودفع إبراهيم قومه إلى الله ومنعهم من عبادة الأصنام.
من what?
من عبادة الأصنام. قال إبراهيم
لقومه
ما تعبدون قالوا نعبد أصنام. قال إبراهيم هل يسمعونكم إذ تدعون أو ينفعونكم أو يضرون. قالوا بل وجدنا آباءنا كذلك يفعلون. قال إبراهيم فأنا لا أعبد هذه الأصنام بل أنا عدو لهذه الأصنام. أنا أعبد رب العالمين الذي خلقني فهو يهديني والذي هو يطعمني ويسقيني وإذا مرضت فهو يشفيني والذي يميتني ثم يحييني وإن الأصنام لا تخلق ولا تسقي وإنها لا تطعم أحدا ولا تسقي وإذا مرض أحد فهي لا تسقي وإنها لا تميت أحدا ولا تسقي.
He said, دعوة إبراهيم, the invitation or the calling of Ibrahim, right? مضاف مضاف إليه. ودعا إبراهيم قومه إلى الله. طيب, translate.
Invited Ibrahim,
What?
Ibrahim invited his people to Allah.
Ibrahim invited, called his people to Allah. Ibrahimu, Michelle, what's the i'rab of it? Da'a is a verb. Continue. فاعل مر وعلامة رفعه الضمة. Grant, repeat it.
فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة.
Siraj.
فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفعه ضمة.
طيب.
فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة.
DJ.
فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفعه.
And then قومة, Rama. Abdul Rahman, repeat it. Salma, repeat it. مفعول به منصوب وعلامة نصبه الفتحة. Someone say something wrong. Amira, do the who.
ضمير متصل مبني في محل جر مضاف.
One more time.
ضمير متصل مبني في محل جر مضاف.
Good. She said ضمير متصل, which is attached pronoun. مبني, it's non-flexible. في محل جر, it's in a position of jar, it's the مضاف إليه. Good. ودعا إبراهيم قومه إلى الله, that Ibrahim invited his people to Allah. ومنعهم من عبادة الأصنام. Yeah, Grant. Translate.
And prevented them from worshiping idols.
Yeah, and we just go with, instead of prevented, he forbade them from technically the worship of idols, right? He prevented them from the worship of idols. قال إبراهيم لقومه, Ibrahim said to his people, ما تعبدون, what do you all worship? Abdurrahman, تعبدون, do the i'rab of تعبدون. فعل
يعني مرفوع.
فعل مضارع.
فعل مضارع علامة رفعه.
وعلامة رفعه. You almost said it. وعلامة رفعه. DJ. Just without the ba. وعلامة رفعه ثبوت النون. فعل مضارع, present tense verb, مرفوع, in the state of رفع. Yes. وعلامة رفعه, the sign or indication that it's in a state of رفع is ثبوت النون, the presence of the noon. قالوا نعبد أصناما. They said we worship idols. We worship idols. أصناما. طيب.
أصناما مفعول به منصوب علامة نصبه الفتحة.
No, I didn't want to ruin your role. You just forgot the letter wow.
I was making sure I didn't pronounce the letter B.
That's why I let you go, because I was like, I'm not gonna.
So what is it again?
مفعول به منصوب وعلامته نصبه. We'll still give you credit.
Thanks.
قال إبراهيم. Ibrahim said هل يسمعونكم إذ تدعون. Isa, what does that mean?
قال هل يسمعونكم. Sorry, can you say it again?
هل يسمعونكم إذ تدعون. What does it mean?
Did he hear you all?
Who's he? يسمعونكم.
Oh, did they all hear you all?
Do they?
Do they all hear you all? What's إذ?
إذ, when?
I'm not sure what تدعون is.
When you call upon them.
Yeah, when you supplicate, when you call upon them. So هل يسمعونكم. Do they hear you all? Meaning, do they hear all of you? إذ تدعون, when you call out, when you supplicate to them, when you make dua to them. أو ينفعونكم أو يضرون. طيب.
أو ينفعونكم نفع ينفع. What is أو? Or do they benefit you all?
Or do they?
Or do they harm you all?
Yeah. And the harm you all, the you all part is not there, but it's intended. أو ينفعونكم أو يضرونكم, it doesn't need to be repeated. So هل يسمعونكم إذ تدعون. Do they hear all of you? إذ تدعون, when you supplicate. أو ينفعونكم أو يضرون. Or do they benefit you or harm you? قالوا, they said, بل, rather, وجدنا, we found. آباءنا, our forefathers. كذلك, like that, meaning doing the same thing. كذلك يفعلون, doing just like that. So قالوا بل وجدنا آباءنا, rather, we found our forefathers. كذلك يفعلون, doing that. قال إبراهيم, so Ibrahim said, فأنا is like for, as for me. As for me, لا أعبد هذه الأصنام, that I do not worship these idols. I do not worship these idols. يا سعد, do the إعراب of هذه. أنا لا أعبد هذه الأصنام. اسم إشارة. اسم إشارة. Start with اسم إشارة. مبني. Good. He said هذه اسم. I said اسم إشارة. اسم إشارة مبني في محل نصب مفعول به. رمى الأصنام. What do you have in your book? You have الأصنامي.
Everything you had in the restaurant. Oh, and also in
Do the إعراب of هذه, Rama, the هذه before it. Yes. في محل نصب what? Yeah, finish it. في محل نصب. And now do الأصنام. Michelle? Certain. Go ahead. وعلامة الفتح. نعم. الأصنام مشار إليه منصوب أو جزء مشار إليه منصوب وعلامة نصبه الفتحة. But it was written. بل أنا عدو لهذه الأصنام. Rather, I am a enemy to these idols. أنا أعبد رب العالمين. I worship the Lord of all created beings. I worship the Lord of the worlds. الذي خلقني, the one who, Siraj,
Created
me. فهو يهدين, and he guides me. Okay, so you see all of the four verses They all end with a noon with a kasra on it, correct? Yes? The verb is hada yahdi. Okay? Saqa yasqi. Shafa yashfi. Ahya yuhyi. The noons is essentially the noon plus the ya. Like if you say darabani Khalidun. But what you're allowed to do in Arabic and what you see common in the Quran is if that's how the verse ends, then you're allowed to omit or remove the ya and simply leave the kasra on the noon. Okay? So it's actually, not that you would read it this way, it's actually yahdini, yasqini, yashfini, yuhyini, me. Okay? The noon ya. Right? But you're allowed to omit the ya. You're allowed to omit the ya and leave the kasra there, right? For example, in Surah Al-Kafirun, lakum dinukum, for all of you is your religion. Lakum dinukum waliyadeen, when you stop, right? But asluhu, its origin, lakum dinukum, for all of you is your religion. Waliya dini, and for me is my religion. If you look at the Mus'haf, it says dal, ya, noon. Noon has a kasra, which indicates that there's a ya there, right? Because if there was no ya, then there would be no noon as well, right? Not in this context, because deen has the word noon attached to it, but in these verbs, right? The verb is yahdi, yasqi, yashfi, yuhyi. The noon by itself, the presence of the noon indicates that the ya has been omitted. Okay? So, الَّذِي خَلَقَنِي فَهُوَ يَهْدِينِ, that he is the one who created me and he guides me. وَالَّذِي هُوَ يُطْعِمُنِي, from the verb أَطْعَمَ يُطْعِمُ, which means to feed. And he is the one who feeds me, وَيَسْقِينِ, and gives me to drink. The verb is سَقَى يَسْقِي. وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ, and when I become sick, فَهُوَ يَشْفِينِ, شَفَى يَشْفِي شِفَاءً, right? And he cures me, he gives me shifa. وَالَّذِي يُمِيتُنِي, and he is the one that yumituni, causes me to die, ثُمَّ يُحْيِينَ, and then will bring me back to life.
Why is it that
Maridtu, the verb is marida, because good. Why is it not muridtu? Like when essentially I am made to be sick. They said this was done like out of etiquette to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The sickness is attributed to himself, right? But the shifa is done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the understanding that obviously a person becomes sick by the will, by the decree, by the doing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But still the idea of, the Prophet said, for example, when praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, Al-khayru biyadayk, that goodness is in your hands, وَالشَّرُّ لَيْسَ إِلَيْك, and evil is not like attributed to you. When something bad happens, essentially Allah allowed it to happen. Allah allowed it to happen, with the idea of attributing good to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not attributing evil to him, right? So the same idea of what إِذَا مَرِضْتُ as opposed to مِرِضْتُ, when I am like made sick. Or if following the same pattern, الَّذِي خَلَقَنِي يُطْعِمُنِي وَالَّذِي أَمْرَضَنِي, and the one who makes me sick, فَهُوَ يَشْفِينِ, using family for, right? أَمْرَضَ, to make sick, right? But rather, وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ, when I become sick, فَهُوَ يَشْفِينِ, he cures me. وَالَّذِي يُمِيتُنِي ثُمَّ يُحْيِينِ, and the one who causes me to die and then brings me back to life. وَإِنَّ الْأَصْنَامَ لَا تَخْلُقُ وَلَا تَهْدِي, and indeed the idols, they do not create and neither do they guide. Salma, what type of lam is that? Lamun nafiya. وَإِنَّهَا لَا تُطْعِمُ أَحَدًا, and indeed they do not, what, طيب, تُطْعِمُ أَحَدًا. أطعم يطعم, they don't feed. They don't feed anyone, وَلَا تَسْقِي, and they don't give to drink, meaning to anyone. وَإِذَا مَرِضَ أَحَدٌ, once again the same concept. وَإِذَا مَرِضَ أَحَدٌ, when anyone falls sick, فَهِيَ لَا تَشْفِي, they do not cure. وَإِنَّهَا لَا تُمِيتُ أَحَدًا, and indeed they do not cause anyone to die. وَلَا تُحْيِي, and neither do they bring back to life.
Ahadan is like anyone in this case?
Yes. We'll stop here. غدا أمتحنكم امتحانا شديدا
part that you're making.
Huh? I'm just removing a few words.
3 to 9.
بضع كلمات بضع كلمات بضع كلمات.
I'm not gonna be here tomorrow,
Yeah, yeah.
so do it online. So. I'll print it and bring it to you, so you can read it easier.
Okay.
Section 1 through 11.
1 through 11. Hey, oh, guys, we said 1 through 11, 1 through 11, and families.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, not 1, but 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yes, families 2 through 5, and vocab 1 through 11.